and in the chat so that I know that you are available. And do forgive me if I mispronounce your name. So we have Meghna Joshi, who is founder of SWAN, which is the Skilled Workforce Advancing Nation Livelihood from India. We also have Rodrigo Barbosa Eu Silva, who is CEO and founder of Livix from Brazil. We also have Helio Nemis Costa. Yes, that is board member of Porto Inovação Tech Park from Brazil as well. So you each have 8 minutes. We can begin with Meghna Joshi. Okay, Meghna Joshi, you may go ahead. 8 minutes.
Thank you so much. I just want to check if my screen is visible and my voice is audible.
Yes, it is. Go ahead.
Perfect. So before I delve deeper into the session, quickly to each one of you, good evening from India. Because the session title is Entrepreneurship, Financial Inclusion, and Wealth Equity for Next Generation, I want to know from you all, what is your understanding on the thematic and what makes you here? Quickly, if I could see some comments in the chat. What makes you here and what is your understanding on the thematic? Let's try to make this session interactive. Come on, can I get to hear from some of you in the audience? So what is your understanding from this thematic and what brings you here? If I can get to hear from some of you. And I would like to, get started with sharing the journey, okay, of becoming a future innovator and a wealth creator. And it is by following very simple steps, by overcoming your fears, and it is also like a road not taken. It is about building something wherein you start by identifying and associating yourself with the problems that you see in the community and also discovering innovative solutions to solve that problem. And in the process, you are building something. And it could be a startup that is helping you to not only generate revenues, but also helping you to solve some of the pressing challenges in and around you for the sustainable and economic development of your community and your country. So when you are in the process of building something, it starts with a lot of pieces, joining the pieces together. It could be your idea that you are going to start with. You may have a product, innovative product in your mind. It could either be a service. It could also be about your risk-taking ability and how well you are navigating into the problems that you are facing and the challenges that are coming onto your way of achieving your goals. It is also about maintaining your customer base, because ultimately it is your customers who are going to pay you for the work that you are doing. And your revenue model plays a very, very important role if your idea is innovative. Last but not the least, your team plays an excellent role in providing you with necessary support and the skill set, because one person cannot do everything all alone. Even though you may be leading the game, but there would be people who would be building onto your skill set and the work that you are going to do. And in the process, you are also going to create leaders who are going to have a vision and a mission that suits like that of yours. So in this entire process of becoming a future innovator and generating wealth by solving some of the pressing issues that you see in your community, you follow a very human-centered process by putting yourself in the shoes of the others. And while you are navigating into the journey, you will see that on one hand, there are people who are going to question you in terms of how is it that you're going to help them. And on the other hand, here you are trying to brainstorm, trying to think through what is that innovation that you can get in, which will help you to resolve their pain point. And that can only happen when you put yourselves in the shoes of the others and think in a very human-centric way. So very simple steps to follow when you are in a dilemma, when you are passionate to do something. How do you navigate into your way of building something innovative and becoming the future wealth creators? Feeling for a cause is the first step. Imagining all the possible solutions around the same, so that you get ideas in terms of what is it, what is the product, what is the service that you would want to build. Doing it, implementing it, doing a test run, pilot run plays a very, very important role, because until and unless you keep everything in your mind, you will not know whether your idea is going to be a success or it will fail. Hence, implementing it as a pilot project plays a very, very important role in your journey of creating a change. And sharing it with others is equally important. As young innovators, we sometimes are very hesitant. We feel that what will the other person think about us? What if we are mocked about? But on the other hand, you should think through it that by sharing your reflections, sharing your ideas, you never know, you may attract a potential investor who may be ready to fund your work of creating an impact in the community. After this, reflections play a very, very important role. You have done all the exercise, you have brainstormed, you have implemented, you have shared, taken mentorship support, but reflecting through what is it that went well and what is it that did not go well plays a very, very important role, because it will help you to connect the dots, and for your next work, it will help you to be more efficient. So this is how I personally also got started with my journey of building my own enterprise. And we are working in the space of skill development, empowering underserved communities, primarily youth and rural communities, towards sustainable livelihood opportunities. And we do that through our curated training programs and workshop sessions. Couple of glimpses that you can see.
You have 2 minutes left.
Yes.
You have 2 minutes left.
Yes, couple of glimpses to the sessions, and you can also scan the QR code to find out more details, videos in terms of how do we create an impact on ground in our country. And yes, this couldn't be possible without the support of many, many young change makers just like you, who have joined the lead to become future innovators and wealth creators. So my question to you all is, as young innovators, what is that one problem you are passionate to solve? When you look around in your community, that will help you to not just solve that problem, but also become wealth creators around the same. And this is very, very important, particularly after COVID, when we are reimagining all the sustainable development goals that we have to work in by 2030. Now, yes, so this brings me to the end of my discussion, and I will keep the ball rolling on to you to join hands and let us become future change makers, support a community for the good, and lead the change. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Meghna, for that insightful presentation or key address. We're going to move on to Rodrigo Barbosa. Is Rodrigo available?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, thank you. Over to you.
Thank you, Natasha, for the invitation, and good afternoon from Brazil right now, and good morning for others around the world, and good afternoon for some that are ahead of our schedule right now. So I'm gonna share my slides here. Please let me know if you are seeing. Yeah, okay. Do you guys get my slides?
Yes, we can see it.
Yeah. So Livix is a financial technology company. In the last 2 years, we started dedicating our efforts to AI in the financial departments here in Brazil, in the countryside of Brazil. It's important to say that we started basically inside computer science laboratory of a public university here in Guarapava, in the southern region of Brazil. That's very important countryside and public universities. That's something that we're going to talk more during my presentation. Today, I brought this map because it puzzles me how countries like the United States and China are leading the global efforts for AI. You already know that because it's widely public that these countries are investing hugely in development of AI. But the main problem for me is that Latin America and Africa are represented as a clean map here for this map is provided by Stanford University from the Human Artificial Intelligence Institute. And I think that what we need to be concerned today is how to change this landscape, how the developing world, the global south can be part of this discussion and the production of the AI models and AI tools across the globe. And we have a momentum of investments in AI in 2025. Almost $600 billion were invested in AI companies. Some of these private companies are startups. And of course, as you can see, the minorities are very, very underrepresented in the investment of AI currently. That's another landscape that we need to change. But one thing that we have to keep in mind is that money is there, and we need to, as the last presentation told us, we need to start talking more about what we are doing, our ideas, our communities, in order to change the destiny of this entire investment. But one real problem with societies like Brazil and the others is that we tend to think that regulation can solve all the problems. But if we can see that regulation demands that governments have some kind of trust, public trust, to be considered as a good actor to regulate everything in the economy. As you can see in this slide, the United States regulation, the United States government has the trust of only 31% of their population to regulate technology and to regulate the market regarding AI. Brazil has 48%. So we are in a moment that we don't have a strong public trust in the governments all around the world. And I'm not talking just about the United States and Brazil, but other parts of the world. And we need to be careful about regulation. Why? Because sometimes when the government regulates, it attends demands from the incumbents, big companies, big techs, and the other kinds of entities that they hire lobbyists. They can pressure the government to regulate inside their models of doing business. So what we did here in Brazil, we start from the community, not capital. As I said before, we start inside the university, and it's very important to have institutions like these public universities and the other scientific institutions that can support your journey as entrepreneurs during your early days. We started very local in the city where I am today. And after 10 years, we integrated with MasterCard and Visa because we issue payment cards mainly. And today we have clients in the entire Brazil. We also have clients in Paraguay and Portugal. But one thing that I'd like to state is that collaboration, when we say that we need to collaborate locally, it means that it's hard. You have to try to convince a lot of people that what you are doing is good for them, and it's not always so straightforward that you are gonna tell your ideas and people will support immediately. You have to gain support and traction with time. And one thing that you should keep in mind right now is that we have a great equalizer, that's AI. AI is comparable in the human history only as the Industrial Revolution. And it's the time that's, I think we are living times where some structures will be shaken by new technologies. And good news, 2 years ago, I was one of those people saying that you need a strong computer science background, you need to go to university and to get a computer science degree, but it's
My
not...
apologies for cutting in. You have 2 minutes left.
Yeah, thank you. So in today, we don't need specifically to have a computer science degree, but you need to have a general vision of your product and your business. So in the last 30 years, education system was prepared to form specialists, and that's the way that people got jobs and go to the market. And now the main driver of development are the generalists, where you can view the business and ideas from the outside and just solve problems and understand the broad aspects of your idea and your technologies and your businesses. So what we need to do for the next generation, we need to buy to build systems, not just use systems for others. You need to invest more in AI, of course, and it's possible from anywhere in the world if you have the right ideas and you can dedicate for those ideas with support of institutions like universities and technological centers. So if you want to keep in touch, if you have any ideas about AI in Brazil, collaborations, this is my personal Instagram account, my company's Instagram account, and you can find me on LinkedIn through my name. Thank you so much for this opportunity, and I'm ready to deliver the floor.
Thank you so much for that thought-provoking presentation, Mr. Rodrigo. Well, we're going to move on to Mr. Helio Lemis. Apologies if I've mispronounced your name. You have 5 minutes to give us your presentation.
Okay. Are you listening to me, please? Okay.
Yes, very loud and clear.
So thank you very much for the invitation to be here. I am a professor here in Brazil, as well as Rodrigo is Brazilian too. And I work teaching in university, but I have a position as a board member in technology park here in our region. Is in the interior of the country. We are not in the big cities and big capitals. The city where I live and I work is a city, I think that 100,000 inhabitants, so is very, very, it's shorter, too short in comparison with São Paulo and Rio de Janeiro, or most known cities like São Paulo. I think that they have 10 million people, in Rio de Janeiro, almost like something like that. So we started this technology park here exactly because we have it's very hard to our students and to people that are engaging in entrepreneurship and to get success and to get some help to transform their ideas, their research, their studies in businesses. And this is something that I know from a lot of time. I am a professor for 35 years, and I worked in several parts of my state, Minas Gerais, and I know working with these kind of arrangements that we don't have to put all the responsibility to get close people that have good ideas to the opportunities to build businesses. You cannot do this with one single company, and not one government, and not one university. This is something that we need to build, and to build an ecosystem. It's almost like to attach and to connect and to introduce, to present the agents of the ecosystem. Sometimes you have all the agents that you need in the ecosystem, but they don't talk each other. They don't even know that there are other agents that can help to transform ideas in businesses and social and economic development. Sometimes we have to build the connections, to build the network. And this is what we do here in the technology park. We work in our city connecting the state government, the federal government with the local business.
Cutting you short, you have 2 minutes left.
Thank you very much. The short businesses, the big companies, they are here also, and the research institutes, the universities like mine, Unifal, Federal University of Alfenas, and we have to make some effort to this conversation happens. It's not natural. It's not spontaneous. Sometimes we have to create some environment and to create some rules and some agenda for these people to connect. And as a professor, something that I know for sure, that everything begins with education. Because even in places that where we have a lot of money, wealthy cities, wealthy places, sometimes they don't succeed with the entrepreneurship and the reducing inequality because they are not looking for these. We have to plan, we have to connect, we have to network these agents, every agent that could help with this intention to transform the ideas and in opportunities, in social, economic development, employees, and everything we need to try to reduce the inequality. Thank you very much for the time. I'll be here for the questions in the end.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mr. Helio, for that wonderful presentation, telling us more about connecting, networking, and being creative. We're going to move on to our breakout sessions. So those that are remaining in the main room, we have 6 panelists. And kindly just raise your hand when I call upon your name, just to notify me that you are in the meeting. So we have Lazarus Dosy. Apologies once again if I mispronounce your name, who is founder and lead consultant, Elite Hybrid Motors from Kenya. We have Crystal Deliani, who is founder of Paula Saving Grace from the USA. We have Zaina S. Aljandani, youth representative from Saudi Arabia. We have Theodora Otu, managing consultant of Gezelle Kobi Concept from Nigeria. We have Bernice Omiunu, founder of Women in Blockchain Africa from Nigeria as well, and Dorothy Muya, who is youth representative from Zambia. Okay, so we'll get right into the questions. And the first question directed to Mr. Lazarus Dosy, who is CPA. The first question is, what does genuine financial inclusion look like for young people in economics where informal employment, limited credit history, and lack of collateral remain the norm rather than the exception. Over to you, Mr. Lazarus. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Natasha. And apologies, I had sent this in WhatsApp that where I am currently, I have a power outage. So I may not probably join the video. Sorry for that. Now, on the question of the genuine financial inclusion and what it looks like for young people, being in Kenya and having the perspective, to me, genuine financial inclusion goes beyond simply having a bank account or even a mobile wallet. And this also means that young people can access affordable credit savings products, insurance investment opportunities, and financial education, regardless of their income level or even collateral position. So what does it mean? To the young entrepreneurs, many of them operate informally and they actually lack traditional credit histories. Therefore, financial institutions should recognize alternative forms of credit worthiness, such as the mobile money transactions, business cash flows, digital records, and even group-based guarantees. And also the financial inclusion in this case should enable young people to start, grow, and sustain businesses rather than merely transacting. And the ultimate measure of this inclusion actually is whether these young people can build assets, create wealth, and also improve their livelihoods. This is my take. Thank you, and back to you, moderator.
Thank you so much, Mr. Lazarus. That was quite insightful. Moving on to our next question, directed to Zaina S. Alijanani. Yes, from Saudi Arabia. So the question reads, how can entrepreneurship education be reimagined to reflect the realities of young people in low economic and underserved communities rather than defaulting to models designed for well-resourced contexts?
Hello,
Over to you.
everyone. Sorry for my laptop camera. I can't open my camera. So let me first introduce myself to you all. I'm Zaina Al-Jidani. I'm a teaching assistant in the law school at here in Saudi Arabia, and I'm a Fintech product founder. And actually, when we talk about imaging entrepreneurship education, first thing we let me start with an open question. We teach young people how to pitch a business, but do we actually ever teach them how money actually decides who gets funded? Actually, this is the question I live close to, since I don't only teach commercial law and stock market law. I also chair a committee that designs the commercial law bachelor program, and also I run a career guidance unit for our law graduates, beside building my own fintech business. So I watch every day exactly where our teaching meets the market and where it upons them at the door. And here is what I see. We hand students business plan templates and pitch formats built for someone who already has collateral, credit history, and a family network for a capital. Then they walk into an economy where they have none of those, and we act surprised when the plan collapses on contact with the reality. The gap is not actually ambition, since my students have far more of it than I did. The gap is that we teach the dream and withhold the blueprint, how actually the capital move, how the law decides who may raise capital and money, how the founder with nothing provable makes herself fundable. And this matters especially in my region, because across all the GCC countries, youth and education is a matter and sit at the very center of the national strategy, especially here in Saudi Arabia with Vision 2030, that treats human capital as a whole point with real money behind it. But money was never the missing piece. the curriculum, the strategy.
My apologies for cutting you short. You have 1 minute left.
Okay, thank you. So reimagining entrepreneurship education means moving from inspiration to instruments. And I would point to two things in any situation, in any institution or business or a leader here in this room could start. The first is a founder's legal and capital toolkit taught by a lawyer and a working investor, where students and young founders, people don't just hear about funding, they leave having built their own cap table, read and negotiated a real term sheet, and mapped how a company in their own country actually raises its first money. The second thing is that make financial visibility as an assignment, not a wish. Teach every young founder to build a verifiable record of their real cash flow, the exact proof a lender needs so they walk out eligible to capital instead of invisible to it. Because the most powerful thing we can give a young founder is not actually encouragement, it's literacy in the machine that funds her and the tools to make herself foundable inside it. Thank you. And if any fintech collaboration here in Saudi Arabia, please contact me on LinkedIn. Any initiative related to young founder, also contact me in LinkedIn. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that wonderful blueprint on how we can build wealth equity. Next question, over to Ms. Bernice Omiunu. Okay, the question reads, what role do fintech innovations and mobile money platforms play in closing the wealth gap for young people, and where are their limitations? Over to you, Ms. Bernice.
Yeah, thank you so much for that question. Just to confirm, you can hear me clearly.
Yes, we can. Thank you.
All right, awesome. So that was a very good question. Fintech, we do know, has one of the biggest drivers when it comes to financial inclusion, especially across Africa. It has made possible for millions of young people to send and receive money, make payments as well, and even participate in digital economy without over relying on the traditional banks. For someone running an online business or even freelancing and working remotely, fintech has opened up tremendous opportunities that did not exist decades ago. A good example is what we are building at FiatSend. We are a cross-border payment platform where people get to send and receive money across boards, regardless of their current location. So a lady from the northern part of Nigeria or Kenya, Zimbabwe, and the likes could send money across different countries without needing to be physically present in that region. And for us, we believe that where you live should not determine whether or not you are able to participate in the global economy. Yes, this is beautiful to know that fintech is making tremendous impact and opening doors across the globe. But then fintech alone cannot close the wealth gap. And this leads me to the second part of your question. Moving money is important. We all know that. But creating wealth requires so much more. Young people across the continent also need access to affordable capital. They need access to good financial education and even investment opportunities. We also need policies that support young people entering into the entrepreneurial pathway. And so this is also a part of what I do at Women in Blockchain Africa, where we educate young girls and women, building businesses as well, and even mentoring them in what it takes to be financially educated. We also create pathways in forms of build-a-thons and hackathons as well for young people to actively participate in the entrepreneurial pathway. So we also do need to bridge that digital divide, because many young people still lack access to reliable internet, good smartphones, or even digital skills needed to benefit the next, for those who are looking forward to be a part of the innovation that we've all been discussing in the past session. So yeah, while Fintech has done an incredible job in expanding access, I think next step is to ensure that it also creates pathway for ownership, for wealth creation as well, so that success in this case cannot just be measured by how easily people make payments, which is pretty much good and okay, but it should be measured by how many young people now begin to build businesses, they begin to create assets, they begin to invest for the future, and also in the long term, improve the economic outcomes because of these technologies. Yeah.
Thank you so much for answering that question. Is there any other panelists that would love to add on to what to the question or answer the question in 2 minutes, please? Any other panelists? Okay, we'll move on to the next question due to time. The next question reads, how do we address the generational dimensions of wealth inequality, ensuring that young people, are you able to hear me? Okay, so how do we address the generational dimensions of wealth inequality, ensuring that young people from historically marginalized communities are not simply included in existing economic systems, but are empowered to reshape those systems? We can start with Ms. Dorothy Moya. You have 2 minutes, please.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much to the moderator. My name's Dorothy Moya. I'm an entrepreneur based in Lusaka, Zambia, and I manage a team of 12. I deal with the reality of building a business every single day. We talk a lot about including young people in the economy, but let's be honest, the system we're being invited to wasn't built for us. It was built for a different world and different rules. When you ask a young entrepreneur to fit into a 20th century system, you're asking them to run a marathon in shoes that don't fit. We don't just sit at the table. We need to redesign the table. The reality, which is the friction in the Zambian business or just globally as well, we hit walls every day. The system demands collateral like property deeds or long-term credit history. But if you look at most young upcoming entrepreneurs, where would they get that kind of backing? It's not, if the economy is just asking about sticking to these old makers of trust, the system isn't measuring any grit or any potential. It's just measuring, the historical generational wealth of my grandfathers and my past ancestors. There's the informal sector. The system calls us unorganized because we don't fit into the corporate box. But we aren't unorganized, we're just resourceful. We are solving problems in real time, but the system keeps trying to force us to slow down to match its speed. There are 1.2 billion young people coming to the workspace. If we keep trying to shove that much talent into a broken system, we will get stagnation. But if we clear the path, if we value digital footprints as collateral and treat informal brilliance as an asset, we unlock the biggest economic boom this world has ever seen. The call to action didn't come here.
You have 1 minute left, please.
Pardon?
You have 1 minute left.
Okay, thank you. I came here to ask, is the table actually ready for people who are about to run the world, to the rooms we inherited, and start building the rooms we deserve? Thank you. I'm open to any questions that anyone has.
Thank you so much, Madam Dorothy. And moving on to, is there any other panelists that would like to add on? Okay, we can move on to our next question. Okay, there's a panelist, okay.
Yes, sir. For me, I think this is perhaps the most important question for our generation, because inequality does not start with income. It starts with inheritance of opportunity. So some children inherit quality education, some inherit networks, Now take a look at the child of Femi Otedola, right? One of the richest men in Nigeria. You can't compare that child to an average child that grew up in the rural area. So some inherit these networks, they inherit mentors, exposure, they inherit capital and even confidence, why others inherit nothing at all. So yet we want to call this a competition. It can never be a competition because it's already a structural inequality. But there's another side to the story, right? Across Africa, I have seen wealthy families collapse within one generation. And that's because wealth was transferred, wisdom was not. So money was inherited, but financial intelligence was not. So sometimes we inherit assets and stewardship is not inherited. And the future cannot be secured by transferring wealth. So the future is secured by transferring ability to create wealth, which is what we are preaching in my organization. And that is why financial literacy is one of the most powerful tools for social mobility. Because if children are allowed to inherit nothing and taught to build something, they'll definitely grow up with wealth. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that wonderful contribution. Moving on to our next question. What would a truly youth-centered economic policy look like, and which governments or institutions are coming closest to making it a reality? Over to Ms. Theodora.
All right, thank you very much. So you see, most economic policies are actually designed for adults, and then they try to adjust it for the young people. A youth-centered economy would do the exact opposite. So imagine a world where every child graduates from secondary school with a savings account, with an investment account, with a financial literacy certification, with entrepreneurship experiences, digital skills, and even access to mentor right after secondary school. Imagine if every government measured success not only by the growth of their GDP, but also by wealth creation. That's youth wealth creation. Also, imagine if every impact assessment. Imagine if every young entrepreneur has access to startup funding before they have access to unemployment. And that is what I call a youth-centered economy. And I believe that countries that invest in youth wealth creation today will become the economic superpower of tomorrow. Because the most valuable natural resources in any nation, it's not minerals, it's not in oil, it's not in land, it's the untapped potential of its young people. I'll take that again. The most valuable natural resources in any nation is not oil. It is the untapped potential of its young people. So we often ask young people to become successful in systems that were never designed for their success. The next generation does not need charity. We need to understand that what they need is access. What they need is opportunity. What they need is financial education. I cannot emphasize that enough. They need capital. They need systems that believes in their potentials before their resumes proves it. Okay, if we get this right, we will not merely create more entrepreneurs. We will create a generation of wealth creators.
You have 1 minute left.
Yeah, we'll create a generation of job creators, innovators, investors, and nation builders. So the question is not whether young people are ready for the future. The question is whether the future we are building is ready for the young people. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that wonderful answer. Is there any other panelists that would like to add to what Ms. Theodora has given us? Any other panelists? Please feel free. Okay. Due to lack of time, we'll be moving on to our Q&A segment. So if you have a question, please feel free to just type the question in the chat and I'll read it out. Or any of our panelists or keynote addressers, feel free to take up the question that will be asked.
Sorry to cut in, Dr. Natasha. I just want to request that we have the people in the other room join so we can have the questions taken at once. Is that fine?
Yes, it is. Thank you very much for the guidance.
Thank you.
Okay, as we wait for the other people to join, is there any other panelists that would like to comment on any of the questions that have been asked? Or if there's, due to lack of time, you did not finish sharing your point, feel free to go ahead and complete your point.
Can I comment on question 2?
Yes, please, feel free.
All right, my co-panelist did justice talking about that, but I just want to add that when it comes to entrepreneurship programs, right, we teach young people how to start businesses, but very few teach them how to build wealth. So there's a difference between starting a business and building wealth. So we teach our children how to write business plans. We rarely teach them how money works. We don't teach them how investment works. We don't teach them risk management. We don't teach them how assets are built. We don't teach them how wealth is compounded, right? We don't teach how to manage a lot of these things that will show up in the business when we talk about finances, okay? So we are producing entrepreneurs that can pitch, but cannot prosper. They have a good pitch, they can't manage their funds. In many schools globally, you see that children spend 12 years learning subjects that they may never use, yet graduate without even understanding taxes, understanding savings, understanding investment or debt, negotiation, or even wealth creation. So it's important that this education gap, which I call an economic emergency, be addressed. Entrepreneurship education should begin much earlier, as early as 7 to 17 years. In my company, we're running a 90 days money challenge for children aged 7 to 17. And to amaze you what these children are learning, because they have the capacity to learn early in this stage. We need to start shaping the next generation now, not after university, not after graduation, not when they start going about looking for jobs. So, because
Kindly wrap
financial
up so that we can get into the Q&A segment.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for that wonderful contribution, and very true. Many people pass on the finances and the wealth, but not the financial literacy, which is very true. So can we go on with the Q&A segment? Ms. Magdalene?
Yes, please, we can. We have 5 minutes for that, please. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. To our audience, please feel free to ask any questions. You can unmute and ask your question, and any of our panelists or keynote addressers will take up the questions. We have 5 minutes. Anybody?
Natasha, can I jump in with a collaboration about financial literacy?
Please do, feel free.
Yeah. So one thing that sometimes when we talk about literacy, we think that we need to tell students how to be more literate in financial subjects and things like that. It's true. it's necessary. We need to reinforce not only financial learning, but maths especially, and that's something that educational departments around the world are trying to do. But another thing that we need to do as citizens, or citizenship, depends from the government actions. And the governments, they act based in a national budget. So we need to understand better how national resources are divided between education, healthcare system, and the other parts of the government, and how this budget is divided or separated to support entrepreneurship and innovation in our countries. So one thing that I've never seen anyone talk about this, at least in Brazil and in some parts of the world, is how to educate people to understand national budget, because it's the real start of the financial education, when people are equipped to understand how their money is spent in the society and how they can pressure the government to spend better this kind of research. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Mr. Rodrigo, for that wonderful contribution. Since we have no other questions, any other panelists?
Yes,
Sorry.
I do, just to chime. Okay.
Hi,
Yeah, so
sorry,
I
Venice, I'm so sorry, before you talk, apart from questions, we're also open to contributions from the audience. If you have anything you want to share that you've learned so far from the entire conversation, please feel free to do that. Thank you.
You may go on.
Yes, so in the mood of the Young People Day, and thank you once more for the GLS for putting this together. We do have programs free and free scholarship programs for young people, specifically young girls and women at our organization, Women in Blockchain Africa, looking forward to grow again their financial literacy capabilities. And for us, beyond just teaching, we are mostly focused on practical, hands-on. Theory is good, it's quite okay, but hands-on is something that's pretty much key for us. And we're open to, again, collaborating and just offering that access, removing that barrier with regards to access for young girls and women looking forward to build both their technical, non-technical skills in tech and in blockchain. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. With that being said, we thank the GLS for hosting us in this session 10, which is entrepreneurship, financial inclusion, and wealth equity for the next generation. Thank you very much, and I hope you have learned a lot. I have learned a lot for one. Over to you, Ms. Magdalene. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Natasha. Thank you so much to all the panelists. Thank you for sharing such an invaluable insight on this topic. We are truly grateful and privileged to have you join us on the call today. Thank you so much. Also, thank you to everyone who has been paying rapt attention to the conversation and most especially taking the lessons that